Hey guys, Dilby here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I've got an awesome video for you showing you how I go about processing my vocals. For me, vocals are a big part of my production, and especially when I'm working on clients' tracks, often a vocal is the main kind of element of the track. My preference and my style for working with vocals is to kind of make them the main element, make them really big, quite atmospheric, and kind of take up a lot of space, really be prominent in the mix. But when doing this, you can quickly run into problems where the vocal gets kind of washed out or the whole track starts to sound muddy when you're adding too much delay and too much reverb. So what I've done is I've developed a technique to overcome this and allow those vocals to get really massive but still kind of stay front and center in the track. And that's what I'm going to show you today. These techniques are all condensed down to a really easy to use Ableton Live Rack, so you can just dial in as much of each effect as you need. This effect rack is available now on Patreon along with all of the files from this project. So if you're a member, jump over there now and grab it. If you're not, then maybe you want to jump over and have a look and think about subscribing. Patreon's an amazing platform to help support creators, and it's the best way that you can ensure I keep bringing you these videos on the channel. Anyway, enough of that. Let's process some vocals. Alright guys, here we are inside Ableton, and I've put together a little loop so I can demonstrate how this vocal chain works. Let's have a quick listen and then dive straight in. Alright, so a nice kind of deep groovy one there. As I said at the start, this is all available on Patreon already, so if you're a member there, jump over and grab the project. So the point of the video is about how I've processed these vocals, and this is a really cool technique that I've been using for a while now, and I think it should be really interesting for you to check out. I'll take off this effects rack, and then we can have a listen to what's happening without it.
Everything went my way. I turned night into day.
So you can hear there it's really dry, really plain, quite boring sounding. The other processing I've got on here is just a gate. This is actually, for a sample pack, this is quite a noisy recording, which is strange. Then I've got an EQ doing a little bit of tone correction, and a compressor which is just evening out the dynamics. But it's nothing crazy, we can have a listen without it.
Everything went my way. I turned night into day.
Just like these little bits here.
Into day. Into day.
So it's basically just balancing out the volume and the tone. Now, this is where the magic happens, this effects rack. So what we've got here, everything is being parallel processed. So what that means is I've got the dry signal going through here.
Into day.
So that's exactly the same, nothing happening to it, no effects, anything. Then I've got a bunch of effects that are good for processing vocals that are all going through different chains. So we can have a look here. I've got reverb, a little slapback delay, ping pong, chorus, and some high breath. So this is just elevating the highs. So the thing that's really special about this, and what gives it that really big but still very clear sound, is that these effects are being ducked by the dry signal. So it's making space in the mix for that dry signal to come through and be right at the front. But then we're able to have like really washy reverb and a lot of delays and sound really atmospheric. So you're able to get the best of both worlds. So I'll just shut this down here and we can open up the reverb. So I've got a reverb here, which is set to fully wet. Now this compressor here is what's kind of doing the magic. This is set in the audio from. I've selected the same audio track that it's on, and then I've selected the dry chain post effects. What that means is when the signal of this dry chain hits the threshold, it's going to bring the volume down of this reverb, which is going to make space for the dry signal. So we can see that happening in the compressor here. Now without the compressor,
day. As long as I'm around, the sun will never go down.
So you can hear there when I turn it off and on, it goes from the vocal being really washed out to the vocal being like really clear, but it's still got that ambience. So let's have a look. Slapback.
In the day, as long as I'm around, the sun will.
So same thing's happening there. The ping pong is really cool because this is something that can really kind of mess up a vocal and get it sounding a bit muddy and a bit washed out in the background. But by using this parallel processing, we're able to get this like big atmospheric vocal that's bouncing around all over the place with the delay, but it's still like right down the center dry as well.
In the day, as long as I'm around, the sun will never go down. If everything went my way.
So what I really like here is the amount of feedback this has got. In these gaps between the vocal section, the ping pong carries on, but then as soon as the vocal comes back in, it gets pulled down again, making space for the dry signal. With the chorus, I'm just using the Tel Chorus LX and I've got it set to fully wet. So that's just adding some atmosphere in the sides there, thickening up the vocal.
I turn night into day. As long as I'm around, the sun will never go down.
So that one's not actually being ducked because it's only adding things in the sides. It's basically just like a dry wet, although this is the wet and the dry is on full. Then the high breath, I'm just using the Slate Digital Fresh Air, which is a great free plugin from Slate. And I've got this pumped up really high, so it's really kind of pushing up that kind of breathiness and that sharp high end of the vocal, which is something that could really kill the vocal and make it sound harsh by itself. But this way I'm able to kind of add that in and then dial in the amount that I want.
I turn night into day. As long as I'm around.
And then I'm chopping off all of the kind of low mids and everything just so I don't get any phasing and that kind of thing. With a different vocal that was a bit better recorded, this might not be necessary, but this one's a bit dull without this.
I turn night into day.
You can see it just kind of lifts it up and gives it a bit more sparkle. So when I combine that with the reverb,
everything went my way. I turn night into day.
So you can just hear a little bit more accentuation on those sibilants, which is not something that we always want, but in this case it's really helping the vocal to cut through the mix. And what I've done is mapped these macro knobs so that I can easily just dial in what I need without kind of messing around with these little things here. And in fact I don't even need to have this open. That's how I normally use it. So you can really just dial that into taste.
Everything went my way. I turn night into day. As long as I'm around, the sun will never go down.
So that's kind of crazy how much reverb is going on there, but the dry vocal is really still cutting through the mix, which is amazing. And of course, this technique, this ducking technique, is totally applicable to a bunch of other applications. Like you could use it on your bass with a delay or a reverb or something like that. Just anything that you want to add some atmosphere and texture to, but you still want it to punch through the mix. So I hope you can see how useful this is going to be. What I'm going to do is make another version without the Slate Digital reverb. I'll put in the Ableton reverb so that anyone who grabs the project and downloads it can just get going straight away. Of course, there's a couple of free plugins there which you can just download for free. So if you just hit this little save button here, it's going to save it to your user library in Live. You can add it to your favorites or one of your collections, and then you can just drag and drop anytime you need to use it. So I hope you enjoy that. Let's have another wee listen to this. Alright guys, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that. This for me comes in clutch, like on a daily basis. I use it in every vocal project I'm working on, and it just saves so much time and makes everything so much easier. And remember, if you grab the rack, you can always customize it to your preferences with like your favorite reverb, your favorite delay, your favorite chorus, all that kind of thing. Mine is great for me, but you should modify it and make it work for you. If you're still having problems trying to find vocals for your tracks, then check out this video I did about where some of the top producers find vocals for their tracks. The cat's out of the bag now, boys. Anyway, that's it from me today. We'll catch you next time. Peace!